Bryce Perkins became the first UVA quarterback to beat Virginia Tech since Matt Schaub beat the Hokies. Schaub is 38 years old. After losing the Apple Cup, Mike Leach went on a post-game press conference rant that included the sentence, and I'm quoting here, "You run your mouth in your little column and stuff like some sanctimonious troll." Meanwhile, I like to think Chris Petersen walked into his press conference and played the air raid siren in response to every question asked while punctuating that harrowing shrill with the phrase, "I own this noise." Texas took Texas Tech over the line, 49-24 in Austin to get to 7-5, which has Horns fans acting like Walter Sobchak. Tom Herman, my friend, you mark this season an 8, and you're entering a world of pain. A world of pain. It's a league game, Tom. Ohio State has now handed Jim Harbaugh 5 straight L's. There's still hope, though. Mac Brown lost 5 straight to OU as the head coach at Texas, and some of us are petty enough to compare the two. It's been 8 years since Michigan beat Ohio State. It feels like the mortgage has been paid off, and the big house is Buckeye property. With the 38-3 victory for the South Carolina State Championship over the Gamecocks, the Clemson Tigers have now won 7 straight by 30 or more. But Dabo Swinney thinks it's still Clemson against the world. And that world is really just the state of Georgia. Oklahoma earned its 70th win over Oklahoma State in the AP poll era. That's dating back since 1936. That is tied for the second most wins against a single FBS opponent in that span. Oklahoma has won 21 straight in November, dating back to November 8th, 2014. That's the Obama administration. And that's what we call going streaking. Dallas Cowboys head coach Mike Gundy has a nice ring to it. Yeah, I said it. Auburn and Alabama have allowed over 800 yards of offense, 93 points, 22 penalties for 156 yards, and 2 pick sixes in one game. They don't actually play defense in the SEC. Not anymore. Means the Gumps put up 515 yards of offense, produced a 300-yard passer, a near 150-yard rusher, 3 receivers with over 80 yards or more, a kick return for a touchdown, and 45 points in a loss. The last time a Nick Saban coach team gave up 48 points was in 1999 when Michigan State lost 52-28 to Purdue. Welcome to the Big 12, SEC. What I'm saying is Alabama picked up the phone Sunday morning and sent that good morning beautiful text to the playoff selection committee and got hit back with a new phone. Who dis? Spell it Alabama because the Tide is holding 2 L's. Utah got them 2. Vaulting to number 5. The Tide played itself. In 13 years of Nick Saban at Alabama, Tide kickers have missed 101 field goal attempts, most of any program in that 13-year span. You're cursed, kickers, you're cursed. Surely Alabama ain't going to make the Sugar Bowl without a division title, 2 losses, and 0 wins against ranked opponents, right? It's got to be Auburn or Georgia, depending on how this SEC championship goes. Florida whipped Florida State, but who hasn't? Utah beat Colorado, a Colorado team not even the city of Boulder respects. Oregon beat the Beavers into the dam. Notre Dame chopped down the Cardinal because Stanford's mascot is actually a tree. With the win against Tulane, SMU won 10 games for the first time since the Reagan administration, 1984. Shout out to my parents who are also celebrating their 35th anniversary this year. Mac Brown's North Carolina Tar Heels are going bowling after rolling North Carolina State 41-10. Sam Howell has quietly put together a freshman All-American season with 3,347 yards through the air, 35 passing touchdowns to just 7 interceptions. For perspective, Trevor Lawrence has passed for just 2,870 yards with 30 tutties and 8 picks. LSU was up on Texas A&M 31-0 and 324 yards of offense to just 40 at the half. Aggie yells, "Stop!" The final score was, as my man Shea Serrano once said, Joe Burrow setting the Aggies on fire and shoving them into a grave filled with glass to 7. Mississippi took the piss out of Ole Miss. The Bulldogs earned bowl eligibility thanks to an Ole Miss player mocking an old piss on the Rebs' chance to take the trophy back to Oxford. Of course, this is all after we were reminded by Adam Amin, Matt Hasselbeck, and Pat McAfee that there's probably a single degree of separation between Brett Favre and nearly anyone who has ever passed through Mississippi. Hell, I'm probably second cousins with him because, like benched Ole Miss quarterback John Rice Plumlee, I too grew up in Hattiesburg. Got the Dixie Youth Clubhouse Cards baseball jersey to prove it. Shout out to Adam Dolan, Cullen Tatum, Stephen Studdleman, Hartley Domerg, Presbyterian Christian Academy, Hattiesburg Head Start, Jones Elementary, and Dr. Bob's M. Tusa, who put my third grade biographical report in the University of Southern Mississippi Historical Archive because Grandmommy told me facts about how she became civil rights loyalty. Well, facts that she just never told anybody else, quite honestly, because I'm her favorite grandson. Rico, don't take that seriously. But back to the Egg Bowl, which got its name for being shaped like a football and was invented to keep the two fan bases from fighting each other after the game like two English football firms among the thugs. And that's your Bill Buford reference for today. There were just 4 seconds left to play when Matt Corral found Elijah Moore on a 2-yard TD pass. This is the same Elijah Moore who tried to fair catch after catching a punt. That's not how that works, child. But that's not the stupidest thing he'd do that night. Oh no. As my man Ric Flair once said to Nikita Koloff, we've only just begun. Now, I'm going to continue on with the same energy slick Rich summon when he announced to a room full of grown-ass women, "Oh, girls, I can't stand it. Now I got to talk. We all got to be quiet." Let me talk like that to my mama or Laurel. I'm liable to get Della Reist. Back at the Egg Bowl, where our peak act of stupidity came with 4 seconds left when Moore saw fit to celebrate his tutty by going mock PP, when he crawled to the chalk outline at the back of the end zone on all fours and raised his leg like my dog Skip. Shout out Willie Morse, who is actually the best author to come out of Ole Miss. Fight me. He was acting like a canine who had come too far to fake relieve himself on national television. This was the rare ironic act of selfishness on Thanksgiving. He picked up an unsportsmanlike contact penalty that comes with going hate, pate. Means that the Rebs went from having a chance to win this thing from the deuce to college football fans like me going, "You gotta be deucing me." So they didn't go for 2. Please, courtesy flush. Though I imagine Ole Miss head ball coach Matt Luke was too constipated to just sit there and scroll Twitter intermittently and grunt. Who's to say if Reb kicker Luke Logan would have nailed the extra point without the extra 15 yards of real estate tacked on the flagship land grant's attempt? We do know he pissed away that PAT wide right, and that look on Rebs fans' faces is the same a son gets when he gets caught with the toilet seat up while shooting from the logo in the bathtub. Before snatching defeat from the double-jointed jaws of victory, Mississippi had driven 82 yards on 12 plays with a Wild Cheeks 57-yard completion on 4th and 24 with 59 seconds left to play and a second 4th down conversion from the Starkville cowbell banger 4-yard line before Elijah Moore made like Rudy Ray and committed an infamous act of legendary obscenity and inspired the school that gave us William Faulkner to commit to its basic instinct and go with the Southern Bastard full-bore profanity-laced version of a cry not unlike As I Lay Dying. Rebs fans had to feel like their mother was a fish, but the past is not the past. In fact, it's not even the past. That's a Faulkner quote referencing Elijah Moore's immediate future. We got the president and the athletic director talking about discipline will be managed internally. Yo! Gratitude is a quality similar to electricity. It must be produced and discharged and used up in order to exist at all. That's Faulkner quote. You can deliver to your favorite Rebs fan if you want to get violently kicked in the face after their 4-8 and 2-6 finish in the SEC. Between grief and nothing, I will take grief. And that's one of the stupidest things that Faulkner ever took time to write down, and I take every opportunity to say so. I never know what I think about something I wrote until I read what I have written on it. That's best. And that's the best Faulkner quote ever attributed to him. So it makes sense that we're not totally sure he wrote it down first. In any event, I have written this, and what I have delivered are but all the reasons why we love this wild sport called college football. Doses.